Alrighty, y'all, so welcome back to another video. I found this Kanye West. It's a college dropout t-shirt, and initially when I found this, my heart started to race because I don't know if you've ever seen any of his promotional t-shirts when this album was first coming out. This was his first album, and man, some of those t-shirts are selling for hundreds of dollars. But this one right here is just basically a reprint on a newer gilding tag. But either way, I still picked it up because I figured there'd be somebody out there that would at least pick it up for a few bucks. And I think this one sold for 14 or 15 plus shipping. And I picked it up at the bins. I mean, so my buy cost on it is probably not even 50 cents. So these are a pair of Nike Free, just an older style of running shoe. It's still, pretty desirable nowadays. I mean, these don't sell for what they used to. But pick these up at the bins. They're really lightweight, so probably $1.50 max. And shipping them back out to my old stomping grounds. I think these are headed back up to Washington State for 20 plus shipping. All right, so I've been reselling full time since April of 2017, and by far this has been probably the most challenging year from the standpoint of trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So once we moved here, it's coming up on about a year now. I attempted to run the same exact system that I had in Oregon, found out real quick that doesn't work. I've tried to kind of change my schedule around at the bins. I found some success with that, but then it has taken just a ton of tweaks, a ton of adjustments. But I think I'm finally at a place at about a year in where I got a system in any way that I feel like it works. So I'm going to cut down my bins trips down to 2 days. I've been going to the bins in Nashville for 3 days a week now for the whole time that we've been here in Tennessee. And I'm sort of getting mentally burnt out on that. I think my car is getting burnt out as well. And so what my strategy is now is to go down to 2 days, just make it all day. Usually the bins open at 8. They do the last rotation at about 4 o'clock. In my prior system, I would usually leave at like right around 2 just so I can get home at a reasonable time. But now I'm taking it down to 2 days. I think I'm going to stay all day. And just because I'm cutting my days down to 2 days, the universe isn't going to be like, oh, hey, here's more store for you since you're only staying 2 days. I think the way I'm going to be able to do it is to start finding items that sell within brands that most resellers have written off, brands like Wrangler, Express, Old Navy. I've done a lot of research diving into those brands, and I've sold quite a bit of stuff here since we've been in Tennessee. And usually when I was in Oregon, I wouldn't even blink at picking those items up. But since I'm at the bins all day and there's a lot of time just to kind of do research, so that's usually what I do. For instance, Old Navy Power Soft leggings, if you find those in like a large, it's like the smallest I'll go to, but usually a large and up, those sell really, really fast. They don't sell for a ton of money, but they sell fast. And again, not a lot of competition for items like that. And Express has some of the same things. So I think I can be able to make up some of the items that I would have on that third day just by taking a deeper dive into brands that other resellers just deem not valuable. So these are a pair of Under Armour basketball shoes, and I'm not even sure how these even made the cut. So before we left Oregon, we attempted to have a garage sale and try to get rid of some of the shoes that were super slow movers, and I thought these were a part of that. I'm not sure how they got back into the inventory, but anyway, I gave them to my wife to do the sale because I just got sick of looking at them because they weren't selling. And so I looked up just here, I think late last night, and these sold for 15 plus shipping. Initially when I found these at the bins, I probably had these for, it's probably been at least 2 years now. Initially, I thought they would sell really fast, but they didn't. And but all these years later, 15 plus shipping from the bins, they probably cost like $2. So I did make a few bucks on them. So here's an item that I was telling you guys that I can use to get more inventory, just cutting my days down to 2 days in Nashville. Because I mean, stuff like this, people just are going to overlook it. So this right here is basically just a Joseph A-Bank button up, and it even has an embroidery. It's a sports clip. And if you've been kind of watching, I don't know if that'll focus in or not. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you've been watching for a while. I talk a lot about when I find shirts or whatever, and it has like a name or embroidery on it, I always kind of look it up nowadays just to kind of see if there's any kind of movement on those items on eBay. And I think on this particular day, there was like maybe a handful of sports clip stuff, and they were selling it, so I picked it up and figured I would try it out. And I think this one sold for 14 or 15 plus shipping. I'll put a pop-up to give you the exact amount, but again, an item that probably would have been headed to the landfill and only cost maybe 75 cents. If you've been watching for a while and you followed our journey on how we ended up moving to Tennessee, you probably remember the video from probably about 2 years ago when my wife and I flew out here for the first time. So the first town that we were looking to move into, or to potentially kind of just give a good look at, was Clarksville. And my wife and I, we went out there, we checked it out, and we just didn't connect with the city. We thought it was decent, but it just wasn't for us. But anyway, I say all that to say that I found this jersey at the Goodwill bins. It's in Austin P. I think it's Austin P, which is located right in Clarksville. I remember because we actually went over by the campus and just kind of hung out, because there was like a place where they had like some live music, or there was like a lot of restaurants and shops over there. And so when I seen this down at the bins, it just sparked my memory, because we had just went to Clarksville a year and a half, 2 years prior. Anyway, probably only 50 cents. Football season is here. It sold for 17 plus shipping. The grind culture, what you see online as far as reselling, is it's alive and well. So a lot of times you'll see people saying that they work 7 days a week. I don't take days off. Grind. And that's the belief that I had probably up until about 3 or so years ago. So at that time, we started observing the Sabbath in our family, just taking one full day off. And initially, when my wife and I was discussing that, I didn't think that would be possible in the business that I was in. And so we were listening to a podcast from Jefferson Bethke. He writes a lot of book on faith, a lot of books for like men. And so I started diving into some of his material, and he was talking about how they Sabbath and they have a large family as well. I think they have 4 kids. We have 5. And so my wife and I kind of took some of their principles, implemented them into our life, and it worked. And my wife is a stay-at-home mom. She's a homeschooling mom. And trust me, her job's way harder than mine, but she doesn't work outside of the household. And we got 5 kids, and they eat a lot. And so by taking one day off a week, we're still able to pay all of our bills, have extra, and we haven't missed a meal around here. And I say all that to say that you can take time off in this business. You have to be strategic when you do it. But I think sometimes the grind culture makes people think that if you don't run this business 7 days a week, you're not going to be able to make the money. Not true. Like today is Friday. So tonight I'm going to a high school football game right here in our small town of Portland with a brother from church. And that'll probably be, I probably won't be back in this garage until it'll probably be sometime on Sunday. And that's taking basically a full day and a half off, and been doing that for a while. I kind of fell off the wagon when we first moved here, just kind of fell back into that old mentality where I got to grind, or we're not going to be able to pay our bills. And that's just faulty thinking, and it's my opinion. I mean, you may have your own, but that's what's been working for me. And from a mental standpoint, from a business standpoint, I feel so much better when I come back in here when I've had a day or so off. I mean, it's just an unbelievable feeling when you do that. So these are a pair of Carhartt Sun Defender pants. And on this particular day at the Goodwill bins, I literally watched somebody throw these back. And I was able to identify right away why they did it. It was really 3 reasons. I think the first reason was, I don't know, people think that, at least the people I talk to down at the bins, like, a lot of people are afraid to pick up big sizes. And this is a 3XL, and for me, I don't know, maybe your experience has been the same. The bigger the better. But the main reason why I think they threw it away, because it had some flaws on it. So right underneath this pocket, there's like some dings underneath here. And then I think on the bottom of one of the pants legs, there's some marks. But again, I've been at this for almost a decade now, and if the brand is strong enough, small flaws, minor flaws that don't really impact the pants or whatever the item is that much, don't really make that much of a difference. And I picked these up, I think it was not even a week ago, and they sold for what, 23 bucks all in. I think it was 15 plus the $8 shipping. Alright y'all, so I think I'm gonna spend the rest of the morning get some ancillary work done and then hang out with my kids, maybe out back before the littles transition into nap time. So I think this is where I'm gonna cut the video off at. I appreciate you guys for coming along with me. If you got anything out of it, like it, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you guys right back here on the next video. Succeed.